Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that button. But let's go ahead and get into this. All right, training camp, day one of the pads. I guess this is what, like day 7, day 6 of actual training camp. But this is the first day that we pulled out the pads for training camp, and there was a bunch of battles. Um, should I, guys? You all know what this is about. This is about Tre Hawkins. We're gonna be talking about Tre Hawkins. I'm trying to figure out if I should save it or if I should just get straight to it. I think I'm gonna let it marinate a little bit. We'll talk about Tre Hawkins in a second. First, I just want to talk about the whole padded practice thing. This is where you finally get to evaluate the offensive and defensive linemen. It's not a full evaluation, of course, because one on one, like JMS, I'll start there. JMS one on one against Dexter Lawrence, he got driven right back. He just got driven directly back. Um, he anchored pretty well. He didn't give up any he didn't let him get around him, but he also got pushed back. So you tell me, Dexter Lawrence, 340 pounds, 6'4", strong as an ox. Um, Somebody tell me who's stopping Dexter Lawrence one on one on an island. That's just not happening, unless you're maybe Mekhi Becton. Maybe you can stalemate with him, but no one's stopping Dexter Lawrence in that position. But under the conditions, I would say JMS looked pretty solid. He looked pretty solid. Tried to anchor as much as he could. You probably think that gives him a little bit of opportunity. If there's a quarterback back there, that gives him a little bit of opportunity to move around and make something happen. So solid rep right there from JMS that they showed. Evan Neal, one on one against Aziz, one on one against Kayvon. Kayvon this year is looking like he's going to be somebody. I mean, we already thought he was going to be somebody. Shout out to Kayvon right here over my left shoulder. You guys maybe looks like my right shoulder, but it's my left shoulder. But Kayvon is looking like he's going to be somebody. He's got a bunch of counter moves now. He's using all the counters, all of the extra moves that he used in college that he kind of went away from last year. He's bringing that back. He's using his hands extremely well, and I think he's going to be extremely disruptive. A lot of people are thinking that this is going to be the first year where Wink Martindale has a pass rusher, a defensive end, with more than 9 sacks. He's never had a double-digit sack guy with all the blitzes that he sends, but Kayvon might do it because Kayvon is looking like he's really going to be on a mission now. So shout out to Kayvon Thibodeau. But anyway, he won that rap against Evan Neal. And Neal immediately, at the beginning of it, looked like he was going to win. He got to the spot there, but Thibodeau beat him back inside with a spin move, and he would have sacked the quarterback there. So Neal, not perfect, but he also played against Aziz, one on one against Aziz, who's no slouch as a pass rusher, and he kind of stonewalled him. Aziz tried to get around the corner. He just used his momentum and buried him in the ground. So Evan Neal, above all, has been looking much better with his footwork, with his hand placement. Still some choppy stuff with the hand placement, but Andrew Thomas, man, like his hand placement isn't the best, but it works for him. Like Andrew Thomas's hands are like way, way. You can't even see on my screen, but his hands are like way out here, and he just brings them back in. It's funky, but it works. And like they tried to make him go away from it as a rookie, it didn't work. But now he's back to doing that same thing. But Evan Neal's his hand placement isn't the best right now, but his legs, his not his legs, his feet are getting better. His movement is better. He's healthier. You can see it, and I think Evan Neal is going to be at least an average guy this year. I think he can have the potential to be better because he's so strong. He's just so powerful, and he's quick for a guy that's his size. So I'm looking for a lot out of Evan Neal this year, and hopefully he delivers. If he can, the Giants' offense is going to be looking good this year. But that's Evan Neal, John Michael Smith, Dexter Lawrence. Who else did I see? I saw a couple of reserve guys. Um, can't really remember the results of those drills, but those are probably your main battles as far as the one-on-ones go. As far as the offensive line in general, once they got on the pads and they were playing kind of 11 on 11, I don't know if that was 11. It might not have been all 11 guys, but I'm pretty sure it was. But the defense was getting pressure. The defense was getting pressure all day. And I wouldn't even say that that was because the offensive line was playing so bad. It's just Wink Martindale. I mean, the dude is a magic, evil genius. And Wink Martindale, you can tell, probably was getting annoyed with his defense getting carved up this past week. And they said he wasn't dialing up as much of the crazy blitzes as he was last year, this past week. But this today, he had that defense just screaming, free guys coming through over and over again. Daniel Jones having to get rid of the ball quickly. He got sacked 3 times. He didn't get taken to the ground or hit, but they counted it as a sack. They blew it dead 3 times. A couple of other times they could have called it sacks, and guys probably could have reached out and grabbed them, but none of that happened. But Wink Martindale's defense showed up today. They really were getting sick of getting carved up, and they made play after play. And there's my segue to Tre Hawkins. First off, let's just give props because we don't want to overreact here, but let's give props to the 6th-round guy out of Old Dominion, Tre Hawkins. I mentioned him already in another video, but let's give a shout out to Tre Hawkins, 6th-year guy, 6th-round guy. I hope I didn't say 6th-year the first time, but 6th-round pick out of Old Dominion. Nobody gives this guy a shot to make any sort of impact on defense this year. And listen, he hasn't done it yet, but Tre Hawkins has looked good. He started off with the 3rd team, dominated. Went to the 2nd team, dominated. Now he's on the 1st team, and he's still making plays. He had Hodgins on the deep route. He had Hyatt on the deep route, swatting the ball away. The one-on-ones, I mean, I think he was going against Crowder or one of those guys, but they ran a decent route, and Hawkins was right there in his hip. Went against David Sills, who we all know is a training camp legend. He's unstoppable. How can somebody beat how can somebody win a rep against David Sills in his natural habitat, which is training camp? And Hawkins dominated. He's been dominating. I mean, against pretty much everybody. And listen, we don't want to overreact. We don't want to say he's going to be Tariq Woolen. We don't want to say he's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's going to be a Pro Bowler off of these plays that he's making in camp. But Tre Hawkins is looking really good. He's looking really good. I mean, I got his physical stats here in front of me. He's a guy that's 6'2", and this is combine stuff, so his weight could have changed. But 188, 17 benches, 17 reps at 225. That's a lot of reps for a DB, for a corner that's under 200 pounds. That's a good amount of reps. Most receivers aren't putting up more than like 12, 13 reps, and he's putting up 17. 4.40, 37-inch vertical. Shout out to Monty on Twitter, Monte Cristo on Twitter. He's not a huge account, but somebody that's in my Twitter circle, and he'll know who he is if he sees this. But he posted this stat of the RAS score, which is the relative athletic score, compared it to DRC, and he's pretty close to Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Now, of course, DRC was running a 4.33, and Tre Hawkins is running 4.42. So the speed thing isn't exactly the same, but two explosive athletes. And I would say Tre Hawkins is probably a little bit more physical of a player, but really similar athletic profiles besides the speed. And Tre Hawkins is, man, he's gotten here and he's dominating. And by the way, today, get on Twitter. I can't find his Twitter, but if you can find his Twitter, wish him a happy birthday, because Brian Dable said today is Tre Hawkins' birthday. And I think we're definitely going to see this guy play. I'm not sure if they're going to start him. You know, Deonte Banks, you took in the 1st round, he's been struggling. It's just that simple. He's been struggling. So I'm not sure if they're going to bench Deonte Banks for a 6th-round corner, because they obviously think that Deonte Banks can be the better player. So they don't want to ruin his confidence. But I do think that Tre Hawkins will get some reps out there on the outside in the early part of the season. But listen, again, I don't want to overreact. We haven't seen Tre Hawkins in the joint practice against the Lions. We haven't seen Tre Hawkins in the preseason, and we definitely haven't seen him in the regular season. But if he stays on this trajectory, Tre Hawkins is going to be a surprise, like a steal of the draft. To get this guy out of Old Dominion in the 6th round and the way he's playing against the 1st team now is looking really crazy. Some other little notes that I had: Darren Waller, Saquon Barkley were guys that made catches early on in practice. Like I said, that blitz was coming through, so DJ had to get rid of it a little bit quicker. But other than that, Daniel Jones had some balls that were on the money. But one, Tre Hawkins, I mean, I think two of them. Tre Hawkins just swatted it away. Perfect coverage. Uh, that dude is balling. But Daniel Jones, like I said, apart from that, good to see that he's still taking these deep shots. The DBs came to play today. They didn't let them. They didn't let them complete any of those deep shots. Waller wasn't able to get one. I think that might have been Pinnock or McKinney guarding him. Um, just a ton of contested catches that Daniel Jones finally gave his receivers chances to go up and get, and they just weren't able to come down with him because of great defense. So today was definitely a day for defense, and it's about time. It's about time. Now, I do want to see our offense going back to making big plays because at the end of the day, our offense has to be able to do that on a consistent basis this year if we want any shot at the playoffs. But it was good to see the defense show up today too, especially when you got a young player that's a sixth rounder that's balling the way he is. Hopefully, Deontay Banks can step up and be that good player alongside Tre Hawkins this offseason, so we can go into this season having two really good young corners. There's talk. There's been talk, and Brian Dable didn't deny it. There's been talk of if you can get more out of Deontay Banks and Tre Hawkins, and they can both be solid starters going into the season. The slot corner position is so weak right now for us. There's talks of just moving Adoree Jackson into the slot and having those two guys outside. I don't want Adoree Jackson to not be the number one corner, but that may actually be our best lineup. But it's also Adoree Jackson's in a contract year. He has a lot to play for. He can go out and get himself like an $18 million deal, $18 million a year contract, or he can play in the slot and get about 11 million. Even if he's dominant in the slot, they're just not making the same amount of money as these outside corners. So I doubt Adoree Jackson wants to go into the slot, but it might be the best lineup for the Giants if Tre Hawkins is the player that he's looking like so far, and if Deontay Banks can step up. But hopefully Deontay Banks can step up because I know that would definitely hurt his confidence, definitely hurt the way he's definitely hurt his mental to have a 6th round rookie come in and pass him, that he got drafted in the 1st and he got drafted in the 6th. Hopefully he can step up and make this a competition, make it a true competition, so he can earn his spot out there. But that's a quick review of today's training camp. It was the first padded practice. A lot of things that I saw weren't necessarily surprising. Defense took a step up. Offense took a small step back. But it's first day in the pads. We'll see how they go. I think there's no practice tomorrow. Not sure when the next padded practice is. But I'm just looking forward to the next milestone, which is going to be Detroit. So they're going to be in Detroit practicing. There's going to be some joint practices next week in Detroit, going up to that game, leading up to that next game, and that first preseason game. And that joint practice is going to tell us a lot because I was about to wrap up the video, but I just want to hammer this home. That joint practice is going to tell us a lot because you look at the Giants, every time we've had a joint practice against another team and we've really gone up against those guys, we usually can tell how the Giants are going to look that year. I don't remember what happened last year, but I know about 3 or 4 years ago, or a while ago now, back when AJ Green was still on the Bengals doing his thing, we practiced against the Bengals and we were just getting creamed. We got destroyed in those joint practices. The first team against their first team, Geno Atkins was all over the place. AJ Green was destroying our secondary. It was bad, and that team ended up being bad. Fast forward to the Browns going against Baker Mayfield and those two running backs, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and they ran all over us. They ran all over us over and over again. Baker Mayfield was completing passes all over the field. It was not fun. So playing up against Detroit, they have a high-powered offense. They're still working on that defense, but they got a high-powered offense. That's going to be a good test for this defense, and we'll finally see how this new offense looks against another secondary. I'm telling you, this joint practice is going to be more important for evaluating our first team players than that preseason game. That's how it's kind of fallen into place these last couple of times. So I'm really looking forward to that next week. But again, that was a quick wrap up of today's padded practice. You guys let me know what you're thinking, what you're looking forward to going into next practice. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season, I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.